Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. The pressure mounting on President Biden as sources say he's keeping an open mind about the future of his campaign. Hurricane Beryl slams Jamaica as a deadly Category 4 and now on a path that could reach Texas. First, all eyes on President Biden. Sources tell ABC News the president has privately acknowledged the next few days will be critical in his campaign, meeting with top Democrats, including the vice president, and tonight with some of the nation's Democratic governors. The White House insists Biden is staying in the race. Selina Wang with late reporting. Our other major headline, Hurricane Beryl slams Jamaica. The already deadly storm, the first major hurricane to hit the island in more than 15 years. We hear from some Americans stuck there, forced to ride out the storm. And Beryl could be a hurricane as it approaches Texas this weekend. Faith Abube from Jamaica, our weather team timing it all out. Raging wildfires threaten communities in the west. A fast-moving blaze forcing nearly 30,000 from their homes north of Sacramento. More than 1,400 firefighters battling the flames as oppressive heat grips much of the country. 150 million Americans in 22 states under heat alerts. The 4th of July travel rush kicks into high gear with millions on the move. News of a Delta flight forced to divert to JFK. Passengers and crew served spoiled food. Overseas tonight, Israel assassinating one of the highest-ranking Hezbollah commanders in Lebanon, igniting fears of a larger war. Matt Gutman from Tel Aviv. Amid the tensions abroad, law enforcement is on high alert ahead of the July 4th holiday. Police putting more officers on patrol than ever before. A tourist from New Zealand killed in what California authorities are calling a robbery gone bad. And America Strong tonight, the Civil War heroes who gave their lives to save the Union, finally receiving the country's highest honor.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. We are tracking Hurricane Beryl and the new path possibly targeting the Texas coast. But we begin tonight with President Biden sending new signals about the future of his campaign amid calls to drop out of the race against Donald Trump. Tonight, the president meeting with Democratic governors from across the U.S., trying to ease concerns about his ability to lead, shore up support for his campaign, and gauge where they stand. Sources telling ABC News the president has privately admitted the coming days are critical. The White House today insisting President Biden is absolutely not dropping out of the race. Sources also say the president and Vice President Kamala Harris called into an all-staff campaign meeting to offer a pep talk. President Biden speaking with top Democrats for the first time since the debate, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and longtime ally Congressman Jim Clyburn. The president will sit down with George Stephanopoulos on Friday for his first interview since that debate performance ignited the firestorm now consuming his campaign. ABC's Selina Wang leads us off at the White House.
Tonight, the first sign President Biden may be reconsidering the future of his campaign. Sources tell ABC News the president has privately acknowledged that the next few days will be critical, that he has told at least 2 people close to him he knows he's in a tough spot. Sources familiar with this conversation say the president told one ally that though he still views himself as the best candidate to defeat Donald Trump, he's keeping, quote, an open mind about the path forward. Still, today, the White House press secretary insisting the president is absolutely not dropping out.
Is the president clear-eyed about what it takes to stay in the race and what it would take for him to drop out?
The president is clear-eyed, and he is staying in the race. I don't have anything else beyond that. He's staying in the race.
Today, the president joining an all-staff campaign call, telling them, I'm in this race to the end, and we're going to win. He spent the last few days largely out of sight, holding few events and reading off of a teleprompter. His aides have blamed his poor debate performance on a cold, but overnight, the president offering a new explanation, saying he wasn't very smart for taking 2 trips to Europe before his face-off with Trump. This, even though he returned to the U.S. 12 days before the debate.
There's a cold, there's a jet lag. You combine that. He continues to work for the American people day in and day out, around the clock. Things happen.
The White House says the president is, quote, as sharp as ever. But tonight, a second Democrat in Congress calling on Biden to drop out. Congressman Raul Grijalva of Battleground, Arizona, telling the New York Times, if he's the candidate, I'm going to support him. But I think that this is an opportunity to look elsewhere. What he needs to do is shoulder the responsibility for keeping that seat. And part of that responsibility is to get out of this race. Other House Democrats are frustrated, saying they need more answers from Biden and his team.
Most Democratic leaders are situated in the same way the American people are, which is give us that reassurance, give us that confidence. And to do that, this campaign is going to have to, this White House is going to have to be way less insular than they have been.
For the first time since the debate, the president has started reaching out to top Democrats on Capitol Hill. Over the past 24 hours, speaking with the Senate and House Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, as well as his close allies Delaware Senator Chris Coons and South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn. And tonight, Biden holding a meeting with more than 15 Democratic governors to discuss the aftermath of the debate.
I think the governors just want a direct and candid conversation with the president. We want to make sure he's doing okay. We all know him.
Selina Wang joining us now from the White House. And Selina, the Biden campaign on damage control now, as sources say the president knows just how critical these next few days will be.
Exactly, Whit. The president is trying to reassure his allies and donors, but they're closely watching new polls that show Trump's lead widening over the president's after that debate. A New York Times poll out tonight shows that Trump is now 6 points ahead of Biden among likely voters, now 49 to 43%. That poll also shows 74% of voters think Biden is too old for the job. Whit.
Selina, thank you. And that ABC News exclusive interview with President Biden takes place on Friday, his first since the debate. George Stephanopoulos, one-on-one with the president. The entire interview will air Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on ABC. We move on now to Hurricane Beryl slamming Jamaica. The deadly Category 4 storm with winds up to 140 miles per hour. The latest track showing the system marching across the Caribbean on its way towards the Gulf, possibly hitting the Texas coast as a Category 1 storm. The images just coming in from Jamaica, officials declaring a state of emergency hours before impact. The storm already blamed for several deaths, now targeting the Cayman Islands. ABC's Faith Abube is in Jamaica.
Tonight, Hurricane Beryl is pounding Jamaica with life-threatening storm surge. The Category 4 storm, the most powerful to hit the island in more than 15 years, already knocking out power and flooding roads.
Here in Montego Bay, the winds are getting more intense, the waves angrier as the storm barrels towards us.
Many Americans here are riding out the storm in hotels and vacation rentals.
The winds start blowing a little bit harder now. That power line sparkled a couple of times.
Christopher and Michelle White are hunkered down with their kids and parents in the ballroom of their hotel. The staff making the best of it.
They're still serving us, even though their country's about to be devastated. They're still here worried about us. We're still a little scared.
Beryl has so far claimed at least 7 lives as it sweeps across the Caribbean. The island of Carriacou in Grenada flattened in just a half an hour. Before and after satellite images revealing the scale of the destruction.
Their roofs were flying past. You could see it passing. It was just a terrifying experience.
And for the first time, we're seeing the destruction up close on Union Island, where 90% of the homes were leveled. Aid workers now racing to bring in food.
As you can see behind me, there's lots of destruction. There's no electricity, power, water.
Among the dead, 3 people in Venezuela after heavy rains from Beryl turned roads into rivers of mud.
And we're still feeling the impact of Hurricane Beryl. Over the last several hours, the winds have intensified. The rain also pouring in just the last few minutes, a transformer blew just down the hill there. Forecasters say the outer bands of the hurricane should continue lashing the island into the evening hours. Officials will have to wait until conditions improve to assess the damage. Whit.
Now we can see those worsening conditions behind you. Faith Abube, thank you. You and the team stay safe.